Today we're going to be talking to Rafael Savino. He is a expert user or Meister user, if you may, for Airtable and Zapier, among other tools. And we're excited to jump in to talk about how he has used Airtable and Zapier as two of the major tools that helped him to scale and grow his business. So we're gonna have some fun, and let's dive into this show with Rafael. If you ever needed a tool to help you to organize your database, organize your customers, maybe a CRM tool, if you may, if you struggle with organizing your customer contacts and set them up in such a way where you can create automation activities or automated activities for these customers, this is the episode that we'll be talking about. One tool that is going to be very, very helpful for you. So first things first, we will be talking about two tools. This is a CRM database tool, and I have our guest here, Rafael Savino. Hello, Rafael. How are you?
Hey, Ricardo, how's it going, man?
Great, awesome, man. Hey, man, thanks for joining. Understand that you're a super expert on these tools that we're going to be talking about today, and I wanted to just quickly start off with just tell us, who you are and what you do.
Yeah, again, my name is Rafael, and I run a dance academy here in Miami, Florida, with my wife. And so pretty much what I do, I'm not a dancer by any means. Like if it was up to me and the dancing, then
I know, man. I know. I'm not a dancer too, so
we'll be out of business pretty quick. But I kind of handle more of the business side of things at the studio, and and I rely quite a bit on tools to kind of run. It's pretty much a one-man show at this point, right? So I need to use tools efficiently to be able to run the show. Okay. So today I think it's going to be a great episode because there's a lot of these things that really help me run the business. So I'm very happy to share it with your audience today.
Awesome. So those solopreneurs and one-man band, if you may, need to listen up, because here is a guy who he's been running a successful business with him and his wife, and he's been able to depend on tools to really help him to drive the kind of success. So tell us a little about the tool that we're going to be talking about today.
Right.
I have to make a cut because I hear this bell ringing on my buzzer. I gotta cut.
That's okay.
I have to cut. I did not expect that. Hang on.
Not a big deal.
Hang on. That's always the shit that happens when you're in the.
Listen, when we
I
were
thought somebody needed me, but it was a male. So.
No, but you wanna hear a funny story? When we're recording the Google video,
Yeah.
for some reason, at the back of the studio, there are like roosters. And then shit, like the entire recording, they were like,
screwing.
oh my God. Like the director, like she literally sent two persons outside. It's like, just kick him, get him out.
Yeah, it's funny that these things you're not prepared for, they just happen.
Yeah.
Well, I don't expect any other mail today, so I wasn't even sure that we're going to drop this off so early. But anyways, all right. So we probably have to roll it again.
Yeah, just pick it up, whatever.
We'll just pick it up from where we were. So tell us about the tools that we're going to be talking about today. I know when we spoke, you mentioned how powerful this tool has been for you. So let's break it. Let's talk about the tool. What is this tool that we're going to be talking about?
So the first tool, it's called airtable.com. And I'm pretty much, this has become kind of like the heart and the soul of all of our efforts at the studio. Okay, so you want to think of this tool as a database tool where you can keep a lot of information in it. But then if you're familiar with spreadsheets, it has that ability, it's that simplicity that a spreadsheet brings to the table, right? So imagine having all the power of a relational database with the simplicity of a spreadsheet. That's the best way to put it.
Okay. So it's Airtable, and this is Airtable is owned by it's Google, right?
No, it's actually a private company. You know,
it's a private company. Okay.
Yeah, it's a very well-funded startup, and they're doing great. They started, I want to say, probably anywhere between 6 to 10 years ago. And slowly but surely, they've been growing their product to the point that it's extremely flexible. And it doesn't really matter what kind of business you run, you will probably find a good use for it. So
that's awesome. You mentioned relational database. Can you tell us what is that, just for our non-tech savvy entrepreneurs who are listening?
Yeah, so for sure. So a relational database is where you kind of keep information, right? So you can think of it as a couple spreadsheets that you have, right? And then you're going to be able to link one spreadsheet to the other, and then bring information from one spreadsheet, right? Without having to duplicate the data, right? So you can keep clean data sets, right? You can keep your data very clean, and then you can link it and then bring pieces of it, as you need them.
Yeah. Okay. So give me let's talk about a practical example. So you mentioned an Excel sheet. So I have some information in my Excel sheet. Maybe my information for my customers, right? Maybe their bio data, like my customer name, my customer contacts, and my customer email address as a basic. How do I then create that relational in Airtable as an example?
Right. So pretty much you will have a couple tables. That's why they call them. Okay. So you're going to have two tables. One table is going to be where you store all your client information. So we're talking about their name, the contact person, the phone number, email, that kind of information. Okay. It's just if you whatever represents that customer, right? And then think about the other table where you're going to have all your sales data, right? So you generate an invoice that's going to create an invoice number, and then that invoice is going to be assigned to a specific customer. Okay. So let's say you're generating that invoice and you need the address and the email and the phone number to kind of put it on the invoice. As opposed to just retyping the information on the invoice, you can link those two tables and then have Airtable bring that data over to the sales table and just make the process more efficient. So one reason why it will be more efficient, let's say something changes, right? Like they move, as opposed to just trying to update all your prior invoices with the new address, right? As soon as you make a change on the customer table, that should be reflected automatically on all the invoices and all the transactions you have done in the past. So it's very, very useful in that regard because it kind of keeps your data fresh.
Right. So it's creating some efficiencies and cutting down certain time that you would then take to maybe update all of these different areas, right? And these different tables as an example, right?
Right.
Now, so and it sounds technical, but who is it really for? Like, do you have to be technical to use Airtable, or what? Do you have to just have a basic knowledge of Excel sheet, or what's the prerequisite?
Right. So I don't think there's any prerequisites. The data is the tool itself, the UI is very intuitive, right? So whenever you go in, the first thing you're going to see, it just looks exactly like it's Excel. Okay. You're going to have your columns, you're going to have your rows, right? And then every column, whenever you set them up, they're going to ask you what type of data are you going to be storing in here? Is it an email? Is it a number? You know, is it a text? Whatever. They have like 25 different types of data that you can input in every single column, and that lets you, that's where the flexibility comes in, right?
Right.
Because when it and we'll talk further about this with the other tool, but when it comes time to link two different tools together, right? Having the right data type is crucial. That way the data can flow seamless between the two services. So anyhow, this is mainly used, I'll say small business, right? And I've seen all sorts of use cases for it. So you can use it for an editorial calendar. You can use it to create customer, to keep customer information, to keep sales information. I mean, you name it. The good thing about it is that whenever you start, they give you, hold on.
Okay. All right. So so now they
you know, the problem is that the studio phone is linked to my Gmail. Oh my God, hold on. Give me 1 second, because I did it on my phone, but I didn't do it here on my computer, and obviously it rang.
Okay.
And then if I have a Gmail open, right, it will ring again. So I just need to make sure that I close it everywhere.
That you close it. All right, no problem.
Yeah. Well, for sure, we're giving your editors.
Well, the editors are getting a little bit of work to do.
Yeah, we'll get it to the point where we make it easier on them later on in the podcast. All right, cool. All right, yeah, I got them all off now. So, where should we?
We were talking about who is the tool for. So tell us, who is this tool? Who is this tool for? Who is the target for this, and were there any kind of prerequisites for being able to use this tool, or can anybody use this tool? No technical knowledge, can that happen?
Yeah, so honestly, I don't think you need any prior technical knowledge, right? The tool is very intuitive, and if you're a little bit familiar with spreadsheets, then that's pretty much all you need. Obviously, as you get into it, right, and you start kind of pushing the tool a little bit, right, you're gonna find that you probably might watch a couple YouTube videos, but they have a great resource on their page that's called, I want to say it's Airtable University, where they have all sorts of videos where they explain how to link a table to the other, and how to pretty much use the relational database aspect of the tool. So there are a lot of resources in there. And as far as the target, I mean, I think it's mainly small businesses, small teams, you know, that you want to collaborate, right? Yeah. And you want to make sure that everyone's on the same page. So in that regard, it's very flexible. I don't think they.
Right. So if I'm a solo entrepreneur, I'm running, you know, just getting starting my own business. I can't afford any additional team. I could basically then use Airtable to help me to manage these kinds of data that I'm going to be dealing with in my business, with the customer data or data related to products, etc. Correct?
Yeah, for sure. And the good thing about it is they have a very, very, very awesome free tier that is very generous. I mean, you can have multiple databases, you know, like, I mean, I've been using this tool for a while, and I still haven't upgraded to the paid version of it. So that's how flexible and how generous their free tier is. So, I mean, there's no downside, right? Like, you just need to kind of go check it out, sign up, and And then if you really like it, then obviously you can pay for it, but you don't have to.
This podcast is sponsored by Meister Task, the most intuitive task manager on the web. Meister Task is an easy-to-use project management tool. Makes it easy and fun and colorful to get all your projects managed in one place. As an entrepreneur, I use Meister Task to help me manage all of my projects. I can drag and drop different tasks. I can assign key people to the task. I can set deadlines and schedules and enjoy just the beautiful colors while I do that. So if you are interested in trying Meister Task, go to meistertask.com/BMT tools. That's meistertask.com/BMT tools. And you can sign up for a free trial when you upgrade to the Pro plan. So get started for free today and invite your team members and get productive together. Usually people are concerned about, whether or not the tool is it free, is it paid, do you have to pay for it? And to know that there is a free tool like this out there to actually help you to get organized and stay organized, that's pretty amazing. Because then and obviously commendations are Airtable. Hopefully one day in the future we can get them on the show too. But the idea that you are such an expert at this and you can share this from a business standpoint, how this tool has really benefited you, I think that's pretty tremendous. And the fact that it is free in terms of what they will give you in the free version, you're still using that version. And so, well, I guess we'll probably have to hide this from your table, because then they may come for you and charge you to upgrade, right? But obviously it shows that, look, there's a free version that has so much value that you can certainly get ahead and get to a certain milestone with this free version. So that's pretty awesome.
I mean, honestly,
So,
I think as far as the way they have it set up like that is that they just want user adoption, right? So they're making it very easy for you to just go in and get started. And then once you start getting a lot of value from the tool, that's when you're going to be willing to pay for it, right? So I think it's part of their entire strategy as a company.
Absolutely, and it's an interesting lesson for entrepreneurs and small businesses, just to sort of add value in a way where it's no risk for people, and as soon as they start extracting that value, then their willingness to pay for it becomes easier. It's a no-brainer then to sort of upgrade and advance to the paid version. So how is this and just so for listeners to know, you can go to airtable.com. It's airtable.com, airtable.com. Is that correct?
Yeah. Just
so you can go to, you can go to airtable.com and you can start taking a look at this tool and see if this is a good fit for you. But if you're a solo entrepreneur or you are running a small business, you can potentially use this tool to help you to manage your customers, help you to manage products, help you to manage the services, help you to manage invoices. So there are all these different processes that you have to then do some heavy lifting on. You could take that load off yourself by using this tool. So let me ask you, Rafael, so how is this tool then different from, let's say, from the alternative? I mean, what's the difference between this tool and, say, a similar tool that's out there?
Right. So I mean, the obvious kind of things that come to mind will be like Google Sheets, right? And again, this is, as I said, it's very similar to a spreadsheet. The problem sometimes with Google Sheets is that it's still a data. It's not a database tool. It's a spreadsheet, right? And then obviously that has certain limitations, right? So when it comes to, looking up information, it might not be as seamless. And then you're going to have to get into more technical kind of formulas, right? In order to do something that in Airtable will take you, 2 seconds to do, right? So that's the obvious thing that comes to mind. And again, I mean, I know a lot of people that are running their entire business based on spreadsheets, either in Google Sheets or Excel and whatnot, right? So that's like the first thing that comes to mind. The other obvious one is probably Access, right? So it's the database product that Microsoft has. Again, it's a good tool, but Airtable give you the best of both worlds, right? You can run formulas, you can do the lookups, you can do all those things, right? And it's not necessarily only a database tool. It's like the database and the spreadsheets all together, right? So so those are the two obvious ones, right? Obviously, there are probably others out there, but I think in the best thing about it though, it's in the cloud, right? So you don't have to install anything. You just go to your browser and you just go to airtable.com and then your data stays there. So you don't have to worry about backups. You don't have to worry about where am I going to save my my files and whatnot. Everything's stored in there. So
and that's the thing I love about these tools these days, because they can travel with you, so you don't necessarily have to worry about storing these things on your local drive. You can basically just pull them from the cloud and use them. So you're basically saying that, hey, these are, when you compare this with like a Microsoft Access, or you compare it with a Google Sheets, or even probably Numbers for Apple, and Excel for Microsoft, this is a lot more intuitive, essentially, for you to then use to manage your business.
Right. I mean, and the other thing, the obvious thing, right, is like once you start getting into the tool, you're going to see that they have like what they call views, right? So they have multiple views, right? So for example, let's say you have a very structured process. So let's talk in terms of marketing, right? So you have your funnel, right? So you're going to have your leads, and then you're going to have maybe your trials, and then your actual customers are signing up for your service, right? So they have a view that is called a Kanban view, very similar to what you will see on Trello or a project management tool, right? And then you can move a customer and a prospect for within each of the phases of your funnel, right? Very seamless with the Kanban view, right? And then the data is updating in the background automatically. So so that's in terms of marketing. But let's say you have I don't know, some sort of production facility where you have, okay, this is our step one, and then the jobs are going to move into step two. It's an easy way to kind of keep track of where, the momentum of your factory, like where are you at? Where are most of the jobs? Do we have to put more resources into, step two or step three, that kind of stuff. So they also have a calendar view. Okay. So let's say you're using this as an editorial calendar. You can have, okay, on this day we have to publish this kind of information, or this is the Facebook post that is going to go up in there, and you can upload images. I mean, it's very versatile from that perspective. So,
and I like that, because this is this show is really helping non-tech savvies to understand how we can then use this as a digital marketing technology tools, right?
Right.
So this is a marketing tech tool that you can then utilize for digital marketing purposes. So I wanted to then ask, sort of like, so tell us like something that we could do from a digital marketing, and you alluded to it earlier by saying that you can then manage your leads, manage your lead flow, and you can also manage, for example, let's say your social media management. You can also manage your content. So tell us some other things that we could potentially do with this tool from a digital marketing standpoint. How do you use it for marketing?
Right. So I mean, the obvious case is what I alluded to earlier, right? Is to kind of manage your inquiries, if you want to say, right? So if you're able to come up with a successful campaign, whether it's in Google or Facebook ads and whatnot, right, or just organic leads that you have, right? You need to capture that data from the customer, right? Whatever it is that you're offering, if you're giving them a free trial, or you're some sort of like a book or whatever, a PDF or something like that, whatever you're giving them, right? at one point you're going to capture that email and that, name and, phone number, whatever your business require, right? And you need to be able to keep track of this, right? Because otherwise you're going to be if you have a successful campaign, you're going to be overwhelmed pretty quick, right? So the idea is that whatever, they also have a form view, so you can kind of set up a form, right? And then people input their information right then, and then it will go straight into your database, okay? So you can keep track of incoming inquiries, right? And new jobs that you're getting, right? And then you can actually track it at a very, very, very granular level. Like that's the beauty of the tool, that you can set it up really high level, or you can set it very, very detailed view. So that's one way I use it, right? And now with the entire pandemic that is going on, right? What I'm using is I'm storing QR codes per customer. So imagine this scenario, right? Someone shows up at the studio and they're ready to try our free class, right? So we obviously have a waiver, a liability waiver that they need to sign in order to take the class. Well, as opposed to just handing them out a piece of paper that, right nowadays, most people don't want to touch anything that is not coming from their household, pretty much.
Right.
We just store a QR code and we show, so they also have an iPhone app, right? So you can pull that up on your iPhone, right? I show them the QR code, they scan it on their end, right? And it's kind of a touchless, seamless registration process for that regard. So anyhow, I mean, that's the obvious marketing scenario, right? That you will use a tool for. And then the other one that I really use it's mainly the editorial calendar, right? So I kind of sit down with my wife and say, okay, well, this is the month of January. These are the major holidays that we're going to be, dealing with this month, right? These are the major announcements that we want to make, right? And then we can start collaborating with, our design teams and whatnot, the virtual assistants, right? Like if you're a solopreneur, you're probably going to have a virtual assistant at one point.
Yeah.
So they can start working on the designs of your social media posts, right? And then start uploading them in there, such that when it comes time to post, right, you're going to have your ad copy is going to be there, your creatives are going to be there, and you have a date. So you can keep everyone on the same page as far as what's going on, right? And then again, you can look at the calendar view, and it makes it looks just like Google Calendar, right?
Yeah.
But you have all the info right then and there. So
I think that's pretty cool, because then if you're interested in then using this tool for digital marketing, you could then set out to, as you're building either squeeze pages or landing pages to capture data, you can then use this as a form to capture that data there, and then filter that into another system like a database, which brings me to the next point, which is can we then integrate this with another tool? Like, is it possible to integrate with another tool, which is the second tool that we'll be then talking about? How can we integrate this with other tools that we might have? And there's a tool to integrate these tools.
Right. So this is another tool that, I mean, it's been transformational for our business, right? It's called Zapier.com. Okay. And pretty much with this tool, what it does is it allows non-technical business people to create workflows where data might flow from one piece of software to the other one without having to code. Okay. So this is amazing, right? Because now I can get information from, Airtable to Google Sheets seamlessly. Like you don't have to do, all you have to do is like field mapping, this is the first name of that person in Airtable. Here's the column where it's going to go into Google Sheets, right? You just map it. And then every time you have a new record in Airtable, you're going to have a new record on the spreadsheet, right? So you can think about this like, okay, you want to pass information from Airtable to MailChimp, or you want to pass information from maybe Square, your point of sale, to Airtable to track sales, so now all these tools, right, pretty much they have what they call an API, an application programming interface, right? That without Zapier, you pretty much need to know how to code, right, in order to make these two services talk to each other. What Zapier is doing is taking out all that complexity, right? And now all you need to do is like do field mapping. That's pretty much what it comes down to. So
That's pretty awesome. I
yeah,
do like that. So it's Zapier, Zapier, and you can go to Zapier.com, and it pretty much talks to the tools. So if you have more than one tool, a Google spreadsheet, or let's say you have just Microsoft Excel, and you wanted to talk with Airtable, then you can also just use Zapier to keep that conversation and communicate using. So Zapier is really an API kind of a hub that processes API connection between one tool and the next. And so you will find yourself using several tools. There's no doubt about this. I mean, as entrepreneurs, we use a ton of different tools, right? And so the idea of switching from one tool to the next, or pulling stuff from one tool to the other, Zapier does that for you easily. And you don't have to have no technical skills at all to use Zapier. You just have to answer a couple questions, right? And then it will just do the work for you. Yeah.
yeah, no, and again, it's extremely efficient, right? Because now with all the proliferation of SaaS tools, right? Like I find myself using 8 or 9 different tools, right? So the downside sometimes to that is like, oh well, they don't talk to each other, right? And that's pretty
Yeah.
much what Zapier is solving. And they have more than 1,000 apps that are connected to their ecosystem, right? So
Yeah.
at this point, for me specifically, if a tool is not integrated with Zapier, I don't really consider it anymore. You know, at that point, that's kind of like a a done deal for me. Like that's the first thing that I'm checking, whether they're connected with Zapier.
Yeah.
You know, to be able to kind of have data that flows into my entire system, if you will.
That's awesome. So let me ask you then. So if listeners are interested in this tool, um, what do they need to do to use this? I know we talked about Airtable, which is a free version that you can then go to airtable.com. That's Airtable, AIRTABLE.com, and you would be able to access the free version there. But is Zapier also free? Is it also a free tool? Does it also have a free version?
Right. So they have a free tier, right, that you can come in and there are limitations. Their free plan or their freemium model is not as generous as Airtable, but they definitely give you some. It gives you enough where you can kind of see the value of
To
the
get
tool.
you started. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I honestly, I think Airtable is extremely generous on their free tier.
Right.
Zapier, that they give you, but they don't give you as much. Okay.
Not so kind, right?
Exactly.
Not so
So,
kind.
but yeah, you can try both tools free. Obviously, Airtable integrates with Zapier, right? And then another big one, it's like Zapier integrates with QuickBooks, right? So, I mean,
Right.
most people are using QuickBooks nowadays, right? And specifically the QuickBooks Online version, right?
Yeah.
So, merging that kind of CRM data with your financial data, I mean, you can mine all sorts of information from there. So.
Yeah, and that's an important question that you have to ask yourself when you're thinking about a tool. When you're evaluating a tool, you've got to ask if you can integrate it with some of the other tools that you're actually using. So you have to look for that answer, because I think that's essential, because you don't want to give yourself more work. You want to reduce your workload. So you've got to be able to integrate one tool to the next, or ask how you can do that. And Zapier actually helps to do that. So this is awesome, Rafael. I appreciate you just kind of zooming in and sharing in on these tools. Is there anything that I didn't ask you that you'd like to share?
No, I mean, honestly, a lot of people, when they're starting their business or when they have an idea, the hurdle is like to get started, right? So
Yeah.
the same thing with the tools, it's like, just don't be afraid of it. Just one day go in, try them out, test them. And if it works for you, awesome. If it doesn't, then you move on into the next thing, but don't be afraid. Like sometimes people, they just create like this mental barriers about, oh, that's going to be too difficult, or I can't use it or whatnot. I'm not technical enough. Don't worry about it. I wasn't either when I started, right? And it's just a matter of dedicating a little bit of time, and having that like need, there's something that you want to solve, and then you're gonna be pretty much a power user in no time.
Awesome, awesome. So don't be afraid to dive in and try it. The tools will not hurt you, and they will not hurt your computer. So you just have to dive in
You just have
and
to
test
use
them out, try them out. If it doesn't do what you want to do, move on to the next tool. But at least so you know exactly what tools you might not know what tools you're looking for, but you can then figure out what is it that you want to achieve, and you could potentially find a tool to help you to do that. Hey man, thank you so much. I appreciate you jumping in on this with us today, and helping to educate our listeners on Zapier and Airtable. And again, these are free tools. They've got a freemium version, meaning you can start free, and if you need to use it more, you can then upgrade to a paid version. So we really appreciate that. So, folks, there you have it. Until next time, we'll be touching on some of the other amazing tools to help you. Go ahead and give Airtable a try. Go ahead and see how Zapier might work for you in terms of integration. And we'll see you in the next episode. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you, buddy. I think this is probably helpful. What did you think?
No, I mean, definitely a good start, you know. Sometimes these tools are, yeah, it's a little difficult, you know, because they're so like flexible, right?
Yeah.
That, you know, sometimes it's a little hard just to kind of get people started because they're just very flexible, you know. And that's why
Yeah.
I said at the end, it's like, hey, just go check it out. You know, it's free. Like, don't worry about it. Just go try it
Yeah,
and
for
see what
sure.
happens.
For sure. Well, one of the things that we want to do, Raf, is so obviously it would be good if you could like we need your help to be able to then share this in your space that you're appearing on our show. And obviously what we want to be able to do is to like link as well. I think what we can do is maybe we can come back in and bring this in, like how can people then contact you? I know you didn't create the tool, right? But I'm
Right,
trying to
right.
figure out a way, and you're in a space where it's kind of a location centric, but would you want us to then extend an invitation to people who might be in your area to kind of reach out, or you don't want to do that?
Well, I mean, honestly, I think the thing is that I don't have something right now set up, so we can say something that I'm a coach at BizHack. You know, if they want to get in touch with me, we can kind of, you know, uh, get that in there. Because I mean, honestly, right now, what I'm doing right now, Ricardo, is I'm building, um, with my brother, I'm building a tool specifically for like dance studios or karate dojos, for those kind of
Hmm.
things, where they can run some of the automations that I'm running, but without having to deal with Zapier and 7 different tools. You know, like I'm just kind of
Right, right.
bringing something all in together. So that's kind of what
Cool.
I'm working on right now, but the tool is not ready yet.
Right,
You know,
right.
it's something that it'll be coming down the pipe, but it's
Yeah,
not
well,
ready.
let us know. I mean, obviously, we'd love to then talk about it for businesses who are using, who are in that space, who are in, there are lots of dance studios and a lot of these businesses all over the country that could then and the region that could then use this. So
Yeah.
so
Oh,
yeah, let's I think if people wanted to, so I guess what we could say, and then we could find a way to plug this in. So if people wanted to get in touch with you, Rafael, I know you are, because we met as in a coaching fraternity, and I know you are also a digital marketing coach like myself. But if people wanted to get in touch with you per se, what's a good place that they can reach out? An email, a
yeah, I
website?
can. Yeah, yeah, probably the best way will be my email, I guess, you know.
Yeah. What's the email?
So it's Rafael Savino at gmail.com.
Okay. So people can reach out to you. So guys, if you wanted to chat with Rafael and ask him questions about Zapier or Airtable, you can reach out to him at Rafael, Rafael savino@gmail.com.